Go guys and gals of fighting enthusiasts of all ages. Kyle here, back with a little news on a game that was not presented at E3, but still brings me a lot of excitement, and that's Kill la Kill. I'm a big fan of basically the anime series and the manga. And a game, well, in the form of, scenes and a trailer was released a couple days ago. With Malco as the announcer, basically saying, "Oh well, we got a game coming out from Arc Systems, nonetheless," which is really exciting. And we also get to see the game in the form of a few scenes of Lady Sasuke and Ryuko or Ryu. I call her Ryuko-chan. In the show, that's what they call it. Anyway, we get to see that. So that's exciting to see. And then I was wondering, once I heard, oh shit, there's a trailer, what the hell kind of game is it going to be? Is it going to be a fighting game, character action? I'm thinking towards the side of character action because, the show is kind of like Ryu's journey through basically the school to kind of take down the closed tyranny, all that. But it looks like from the scenes, it's going to be kind of a fighting game. I mean, not the fighting games that we're used to, but the 3D genre. It's like what I like to call it, in the balance of if 2D is top tier, then we have the brackets underneath, which are 2D is like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, your left, right, up, down, and then your 3D is down here in like a close heat of second, which is DOA, Tekken, Soul Calibur, and then you have your anime genre, which is Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, Eunice, Under Night Birth, and Aquapalooza, Fighting Climax, what have you. And so seeing it in the form of that, like it's a 3D game where you move, and more than just back and forth and up and down, you also have horizontal movement and vertical movement. It's also anime too. So looking into that and thinking about it for a while, the games of this ilk, I think of Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, which has actually been played on the EVO stage. I consider them, I honestly call them fighting games, even though people deem them like arena fighting games or button bashers. Basically because they have a shallow skill ceiling, and they do for the most part. J-Stars was an example of this system done really poorly. Of that, it's just one or two buttons. One button that does the majority of the combos, one button to block, one button for a super, and then the others are just for assists, which can be completely overpowerful and completely unbalanced. The game itself usually doesn't have it usually has a very shallow meta of, if I have this best character, you're probably going to lose. Dragon Ball Z Budokai, there, if you have short characters, you usually couldn't hit them with certain attacks, or if you had one character compared to another, you would usually die in 2 hits compared to someone who can take just a trillion hits of damage. So over the years, we've seen that these games done poorly can be, they can be fun at first because it's just you're playing with your friends and whatnot, but competitively, it's usually very one-sided, and there's no depth that would keep people coming back. There's no skill ceiling that's the skill ceiling is too reachable to the fact that if I can just do all these things perfectly, like Street Fighter V is kind of like that a little bit. If you can play perfect, if you play your character perfectly, you're probably not going to lose. If you play your character better than the other person, even if it's like a mirror match, then you're probably not going to lose. There's no room for creativity, and going back to E3 and seeing Jump Force and seeing how cool that was, because I actually want these games to do well. There weren't a lot of fighting games revealed at E3 besides the ones we already know about, like Soul Calibur and DOA. Well, DOA 6 was brand new, but the majority of the fighting games came from these arena fighting games. It was My Hero Academia, Once Justice, and then Jump Force, and then Kill la Kill. And so these games are, these arena fighting games are kind of coming out in droves a little bit more actually. And so since they are, I actually want them, I want them to do fairly well because these are games I'm interested in, these are games I want to buy. I mean, I want them to do well because I mean, I'd like to have other people to play them with, but I'll play them regardless. In that, I mean, I believe they have the ability to be competitive, to have a meta to it that can basically evolve and adapt, and people can come up with tech and block and basically defensive and offensive options that are well executed and creative. I mean, Dragon Ball Z Fighters, I still love that game to a point, but its meta right now is if you have a top tier character, like for instance, if you have Cell, if you have Goku Black, or if you have Cell, you're probably not going to lose the majority of the time. And this isn't me griping either. I think if anything, I'm trying to advocate for these games and speak on it a bit, and also react, because I'm looking forward to this. But kind of explain things and how they're sort of similar, because people consider these arena fighters, these 3D games, on a different level. And I want to maybe advocate and change some people's minds and say they can be skillful if they're done the right way. If they're not, then I agree with the point that they can basically lose interest because there's only so much you can do. There's only so much metaphorical blood you can squeeze from this rock. So, in that way, let's say Jump Force, as an example. The way it's played and the way from what I'm watching, it looks like the defensive and offensive options are fairly unique. I think of the first Ultimate Ninja games that came out on the PlayStation 2, based on a 2D plane. You can switch whether it's foreground or background. You can pick up items, but even that was like I think it was a 2 to 3 button fighter. But the directional options would affect, so kind of like Tekken, how it's a 4-button fighter, whether you hold up, down, directional. Well, basically, I'm thinking your numerical pad of attack buttons and defensive, you could change your attack strings, your attack positioning, where you attack on a person's body, the blocking, the jutsus, whether you're in a string, you can counter. There are perfect parries, there's perfect blocking. Basically, there's a lot of defensive and a lot of offensive options that turn that game into what I would consider an in-depth fighting game, similar to like the classic Street Fighter. Just as an archetype. So, if Jump Force and let's say Kill la Kill, they have options of like characters are balanced. There are going to be characters that are a little bit better than others, just based on creativity and just who they are. That's alright. I mean of like every character has a tool that can deal with every situation. So let's say Ryuko is a fairly, she's gonna probably be the Ryu character. Like she has a tool for everything. She has good reaching normals. She has projectile of some kind. Basically the checklist of things. There might be a character specifically. I can't remember old dude's name. That's interested in Mako. Big guy. I can't think of his name. He might be. He has like the gimp suit on, sort of, and it looks really weird with that. I can't remember. But anyway, he's a grappler. He has a tool to get in to basically do what he can do. And so I'm going to use Street Fighter V as an example with this. Compared to Ultra, Zangief from Ultra, even though he would lose to projectile characters like Dhalsim, or zoning characters like Dhalsim, and projectile characters like Rose and Ryu and Ken, he could still do work and still win because he had the tools to get in. He had a green hand. The game had focus to basically add that in. Looking back on it, that actually isn't so bad. He had a fast reaction lariat that could go through projectiles and had a lot of active frames. Here in 5 now, we have a Zangief that has no green hand. He has a V trigger that's just a flex that takes away gray life or green life. And now that since Season 2, green life recovers slower, he has that to deal with now. And he has to work with just that. And flex can go through a certain amount of moves, but then again, it's very exploitable. It can be baited out very easily from that. And if if someone really wanted to, you can keep him across the screen, and then you can't really have a time to get in. So, what Arxis, and I feel like if anyone can do it, Arxis can, because I mean they're really killing it with fucking everything at this point, with Dragon Ball, with Guilty Gear. Eunice is still, honestly, in my opinion, along with Skullgirls and Killer Instinct, the top 3 probably hands down constructed fighting games as far as teaching people how to play, game meta, game balance, characters. They execute that so well. If these 3D games like One's Justice and Jump Force and Kill la Kill can do that, then I feel like they'll easily have a spot amongst basically the fighting game ranks, like the ones that we're used to, and their properties, their names. Like everyone, I mean, well, anime is really popular, Shonen Jump's really popular. Then I don't see an issue of where it can't necessarily rise to the occasion of being really popular. And if it just ends up being something people like to play for casuals, then hey, I mean, that's just the way it is, because, you know, people's opinions are what they are, and it might not change overnight. However, I will advocate and say that if they are done well and done right, then these games have the ability to basically be on a competitive scene. Like I said, the shallow nature of these games over the history of time can show that they're really one-sided and can be, but I feel like if we give it a chance, and if we kind of stick close to the creators of it and just ask certain questions, then it can be done. If For Honor can be considered what is essentially a fighting game, then I feel like these can too. And For Honor was samurais versus Vikings. So Desinia, NT, Final Fantasy. I didn't even play that. I love watching it. It's really interesting to see 3-on-3. A lot of people played that when it came out, and I'm thinking people still do. For the most part, I could possibly be wrong about that, but it was a good project, done well. I want to say there were some balancing issues, which is why people don't play it as much, and it would turn into just a big I kill you, you kill me kind of thing. But even so, those things are popular, can be done correctly. So anyway, with that being said, I will chime out for now. Let me know in your opinions whether you feel the same way or anything to possibly help this genre. I'd love to hear your opinions, so please, if you have anything, leave it down there. I'd love to take a read at it and possibly make another video on the topic, discussing these genre games and these types of games. I'll keep my ear close to Kill la Kill, because hopefully shit, I'm really excited about that. Whether it turns out to be a character action game, then I guess I'll have to change my perspective on that, because, oh well, it's not a fighting game anymore, it's a Bayonetta style game. And if that's the case, then that's alright. So, anyway guys, you take care, pitch and go shine on. See you next time.